This Michael Blake, a former vice chair of the DNC, former Obama White House aide, and CNN senior political commentator Scott Jennings. We'll get to the policy in just a second, Scott, but Senate confirmed, like a few weeks ago, just started the job. But this is not like a Biden holdover. This is someone that the Trump administration selected and put through the Senate and won confirmation, and now she's gone, fired.
And now they'll have to do it again. I mean, that's the thing. Once you lose a Senate confirmed position, you got to go back in and do it again. So I assume the confirmation hearings for the next person will be somewhat difficult. So it'll probably mean a prolonged session at the CDC without a Senate confirmed director. Doesn't mean they can't operate. Doesn't mean the White House can't use its policy priorities over there. But it'll create a vacancy that they'll now have to work through one more time. These Senate confirmed positions, you got to find somebody, you got to vet them, you got to put them through the process. It's not a short thing.
And the reporting in the New York Times, the Washington Post, I think, which broke this story, is this is a fight over vaccine policy, that the CDC director would not agree with recommendations that Robert Kennedy, Secretary of Health and Human Services, wanted to pass through. So what questions does that raise for you?
It reminds us again about the incompetence of the Trump administration. Let's be clear that it wasn't just the CDC director, but there's 4 other officials who left because they were saying we need to actually have healthy regulations and make sure we're taking care of our communities. And to fire them shows that the Trump administration is not serious in any regard. I was born with a heart murmur. I have a mother who's beating breast cancer. When we think about the responsibilities, every single one of us needs to have an actual responsible medical policy. And the Trump administration is not at all stating that they believe that they actually are right when it comes to policy. It's just that they're upset that someone's actually saying that they're wrong.
From what I've seen, your heart is quite strong, at least when you're here with us on CNN. I think we could all agree on that. Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr. obviously thinks what he thinks about vaccines. His confirmation very complicated. Senator Bill Cassidy of Louisiana, needed to be convinced that he was going to be in favor, or not work against vaccines. Scott, where do you think Robert Kennedy stands right now in the Trump administration? How much more runway does he have here?
Well, I think the Make America Healthy Again agenda has quite a lot of support in the administration. I frankly think it has quite a lot of support among the American people. It's why a lot of people were drawn in to the Trump campaign who didn't otherwise consider themselves to be, political people. Look, I do think a lot of people have legitimate questions out there about some of the ways our public health regime has been run in recent years. I do think the CDC and other public health organizations didn't exactly cover themselves in glory during COVID, for instance. That's why we're having a crisis in confidence in these institutions right now. But as it relates to the reason he exists, this whole Make America Healthy Again agenda, he has quite a lot of popular support for it, and in the White House and in the administration, I think people realize this is a powerful force in our sort of current public affairs environment.
But insofar, you did have questions about the systems here in the organization. You don't think it's a good look when someone's gone after being Senate confirmed a few weeks ago?
Look, I think if you've confirmed someone and a few weeks later they're gone, it is a PR problem, but then it's a bit of a governance problem because you have to get the next person. They have to be researched, vetted,
It's also a policy problem. If you can't get on the same page of something as big as vaccines.
I will just say it's clearly a policy problem. Look, from a public health crisis, let's make sure we're clear about this. The greatest public health crisis we're watching right now is around gun violence. And our hearts should be going out to what's happening in Minnesota, but we also need to make sure we need to get the guns off the streets. And the reality is you have an administration that cannot articulate any responsible health policy in any regard. They're firing people at the CDC. You can turn your head if you want, Scott, but it's just facts. We're seeing what's going on with FEMA right now. They spent more time ousting people rather than trying to heal people right now.
They didn't fire people. One person was fired. The other people resigned.
Again, Scott, I waited for your point. So look, you have your talking points.
You shouldn't lie. They didn't fire them.
I'll state the policy facts. So is the anniversary of the March on Washington, where we should be talking about I Have a Dream. We have families waking up to the latest nightmare of losing someone. And when we talk about a public health crisis that is happening right now, you have an administration that is literally saying you have to leave because we don't agree with you speaking up. From the CDC to FEMA, let's be very clear. The more than 30 individuals that they suspended them out of the frustration that they spoke up. Not because they were inaccurate with the facts.
This is FEMA. You're talking about the letter that was written, signed by 30 people, current and former, who then were placed on administrative leave just yesterday.
Around the same premise point of speaking up against an administration.
I want to go to a different subject unless you want to make one last point.
Look, the elected administration, whoever it is their prerogative to install people who will execute on their policy priorities. You know, we don't typically let bureaucrats or appointees tell the president what to do. It's the other way around.
I want to ask one question about something that happened a few days ago, but really the results came to light. There was a special election for a Senate seat in Iowa, state Senate seat, you know, Senate District number 1, the special election there. And it flipped. The Democrat won the special election, Caitlin Dray, by 10 points. This was a Trump plus 11 district. So it went from Trump plus 11 to Democrat plus 11 here. There is a glass half full, glass half empty look here, but Michael, for you, what do you see here?
Well, in a state that I have a lot of experience in, I led constituency outreach in Iowa for Senator Obama. We saw a focus on affordability and making it very clear around public education and what's happening in our communities. And the Republican candidate actually could not articulate how they're helping people. And at the end of the day, the reason why Republicans are terrified right now is that they cannot articulate a policy agenda. She was abundantly clear. It is too expensive living in America right now when nearly 60% of Americans do not have $1,000 in their bank accounts. She won a district that the Republican had won by more than 10 points himself when he ran previously, because at the end of the day, we are saying we will help you pay your bills while Republicans are just driving up your bills.
And again, Democrats around the country look at this as a reason for hope. Scott, there were fewer than 8,000 people who voted in this election.
Yeah.
But how nervous should it make Republicans?
Well, it doesn't make me very nervous to hear Democrats with a straight face looking into a television camera and saying, boy, how did we get to this affordability crisis? Given that we all know how we got there over the last 4 years.
You're right.
And the
From the disaster of Donald Trump. You're absolutely right.
So you're saying we had no affordability crisis during the Biden years?
I will say that.
Where did the inflation come from?
You know, this is the difference between someone who led policy in the White House and someone who talked about it. So Republican presidents.
You can't answer the question. Did inflation go up or not? Did inflation go up or not?
Inflation has gone up.
Did inflation go up under Biden or not?
Republican
Be
presidency.
honest. What's killing your party is a failure to be honest with the American people about why you lost the last election.
Michael, you go. Then Scott. Michael, you go. Then
Here's the
Scott.
issue.
Hang on, Scott. Go ahead, Michael.
So to the question, at the end of the day, the reason why they just lost in Iowa is that they cannot articulate how they're helping people pay their bills. Simply put.
It's a special election. Here's the reality. It's absolutely true. Democrats now have more voters who are regular voters in non-traditional elections, specials, off year, what have you. That's absolutely true. And so you've seen a pattern of Democrats doing better in these elections that don't happen in a regular occurrence. They have more voters who turn out every time. Until Republicans solve this, it will continue to be a problem, but it is not determinative of a regularly scheduled election or a presidential election. So I think there's a danger for Democrats to overread it, but Republicans shouldn't underread it either.
Scott Jennings, Michael, thank you both so much for being with us this morning. Erica?